for Tuesday, March 7th, 2023. Just to begin, we had originally scheduled the TVA and NES to come talk to us. I know that council members had questions about the response in the recent outages where we had rolling blackouts, and they notified me that they would be unable to be here because of issues that are ongoing with the current outages, many of which are still in my district, including my own house. So we certainly empathize with what they're going through now, and we're going to reschedule that as soon as possible, but they will not be here. We do have members of the police department, as some members have discussed a desire to speak with the police department regarding traffic calming measures. So I think we will start with that. We will allow the first at maximum 20 minutes for the police department. He does not have presentations, but we do have members who have questions for the police department in regards to their role in the traffic calming process. So let's see, if you'll just come up and you can sit at the front table and right here. It's Lieutenant Gilliland, and you're more than welcome to make a brief opening statement if you'd like, or just open it up to questions. So the floor is yours, Lieutenant.
I'll take questions immediately. Like I said, I'm Lieutenant Gilliland with the Traffic Division of the Metro Nashville Police Department. I'm sorry?
Can you pull the microphone up?
Is that better?
Yeah, it's better.
I have the Traffic Division for the Metro Nashville Police Department. We have the Fatal Crash Investigation Team, the Hit and Run Unit, the Aggressive and Impaired Driving Unit, and we handle some special initiatives through the Tennessee Highway Safety Office. But are there any specific questions?
Councilmember Cash, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I asked the chair to have you all here so we could, in part, ask questions, and in part, I think, encourage something that I'll get to in just a second. I mean, we have, on this council, talked a lot about Vision Zero and about traffic safety. It seems like it was, to me, like about the sixth committee meeting in a row that Director Alarcon and her team were talking about Vision Zero and traffic safety. That made me think, you know, you all are our partners in protecting the public, and I hope, and I guess this is my first question, is Vision Zero something that the MNPD embraces as a goal for Metro? And let me just throw a few questions out there that are kind of related, and you can respond however you know, in whatever order or to what extent you'd like. So, do you embrace this Vision Zero that we have to end pedestrian deaths? How can you help with that goal? What are and not only how can you, but how have you been, and are there things that we could look at in the future going forward that improve pedestrian safety? And, you know, I know that there's been controversy about traffic stops, and, you know, it's likely not the safest way for anybody to, especially officers, to regulate traffic. So I guess, are you all strategizing ways to kind of control traffic or ding people that are not driving the way they should, that don't involve traffic stops? And just if you could talk a little bit about you kind of gave us a bullet list of things that the traffic division does, but if there are things that relate to, you know, not investigating things that have already happened, but looking forward and trying to make the public safer. There are things that, if those are part of your goals, I think those are kind of the questions that I have.
Yes, sir. The Metro Nashville Police Department does embrace the Vision Zero project, not just for pedestrians, but for all motoring public ultimately we'd like to see those numbers go down to zero. Traffic is very unique, and traffic crashes are very unique that we can actually take data. We can find locations where there are problems with regards to crashes, as well as contributing factors for those crashes. Now, the data is only good as the people entering that data, so there is a margin of error with regards to how that data is entered on these crash reports and so forth. But we take that data and we have a specific plan in place right now that goes along with Vision Zero. Prior to the Vision Zero program, we would find hot spots where we would go through and analyze the crash data from the Titan reports. Those are the uniform crash reports throughout the state of Tennessee. We would analyze that data and we would determine what our hot spots were. When Vision Zero came into existence, NDOT did the same thing. And then we got together and we compared, and they're pretty much the same high injury networks. Our hot spots, their high injury networks, they're the same. And a lot of these roadways will probably always be in those high injury networks. They're 5-lane roads, they're major thoroughfares with lots of traffic. They're going to always be on those lists. So currently we have the motor unit, which is assigned to the traffic division, and their sole goal is on a rotation. They go to every precinct and they hit these high injury networks. And the way they do it is, it may be this week, you may see them on Monday in Hermitage Precinct. Next week, it may be on a Wednesday, and the times vary as well. So we all know that if you're driving down the interstate and you see the same trooper on the side of the interstate on the same day, you see him every Monday and Wednesday between 7 and 9, you know you're not going to speed Monday and Wednesday between 7 and 9. But on Friday, you're making a beeline for the house. That's all there is to it. So the psychological aspect of that formula that we utilize, you never know when they're going to be out there. It kind of makes it seem like they're there a lot more than they are, because there are only so many resources. We have tried this program and tested it in places for short periods of time over the last 5 years, and every time it works. It works. Those crashes and those high injury networks are reduced. Success rates range anywhere from, I've seen 50% fewer crashes during a time period to, 2%. It's just hard to judge. So that's how we move forward with the enforcement aspect of the Vision Zero specifically. Now, we meet once a month with the representatives from NDOT, and we have what we call a fatal crash staff meeting. We go over, the district attorney is there, all of our investigators are there, NDOT is there, TDOT is there, THP is represented generally there, and we all come together and we look at these crashes that are outstanding crashes, as well as those that are in the prosecution phase or those that won't be prosecuted, and we look at each one of these crashes to determine, okay, what can we do? What does the district attorney need from us? Anything additional they may need from us in order to proceed with prosecution? Are there any engineering issues that NDOT or TDOT can take into account on these specific crashes? If any of those organizations have questions specifically about that night or that day when the crash occurred, we were on the scene. We can provide them that update and that information. And both NDOT and TDOT have been great about coming out to the scene of our crashes to take a look at stuff. They're out there on a regular basis with us. So that partnership works real well. So that's one aspect of the enforcement that we have. Now, every year we apply for a grant from the Tennessee Highway Safety Office. It's generally $500,000. This year's just over $500,000. And those grant funds, they're federal monies from NHTSA, the National Highway Safety Office. And it's very specific, the rules to how that grant money can be utilized. For It's called a split grant. It's actually split in two sums, 50-50 pretty much. 50% can be used for enforcement of impaired driving, and 50% can be used for what they call multi-violations. The multi-violations, we focus on those contributing factors that are resulting in crashes and deaths. No seatbelt. Probably close to 40 to 45% of our fatal crashes are unbelted occupants. Distracted driving, those cell phones. You'll see us out there, and we work with THP about doing enforcement with those cell phones. The careless and reckless behavior, rapid lane changing, that guy that's doing 70 and a 55, but he's zipping in and out all those lanes. We're looking for those specifically. We're not really focused on registration violations or broken windshield, stuff like that. Now, if it's obstructing the view, then that's a distraction. Of course, we'd get that. But those little regulatory violations, we're not really focusing on. We're looking at those violations, speed, that are actually causing the crashes, that are actually resulting in the more severe injuries and deaths. So it's very specific. It's kind of funny the way those monies are allocated. Like I said, you can use 50% for impaired driving enforcement, and you can use 50% for multi-violation. But if you needed to use more than 50% for impaired driving, you could, but you couldn't use more than 50% for the multi-violation. Different pots of money from the feds that it's coming from, so they really regulate that. But so, like I said, a little over $500,000 is what we'll spend this year doing those type of enforcements.
Councilmember Cash, you have any more questions?
If you could touch on this, just what I asked about, regulating traffic. That have you strategized ways to kind of do that without actually pulling over cars? I mean, I would assume that the visibility in these hot spots are something in and of itself, but I'm just curious, because it has been controversial lately.
It's multifaceted. There's the goal of when you're in an area, you put a lot of officers in an area, that high visibility works as a psychological factor. And with social media now, man, every time we get on Briley Parkway, they'll be like, "Oh, Metro's out on Briley," and they put it out there all over social media for us, so everybody naturally slows down. So that's a deterrent in and of itself. And certain things we do advertise. When having a special operation like that, we do advertise. We do advertise on the social medias with regards to click it or ticket and those operations, where they're going to be. Sobriety checkpoints, that's posted upwards of 5 days prior to the sobriety checkpoint, where we're going to be, what we're doing there, why we're there. So we utilize those avenues as well. I won't go too far into it because I don't know that much about it. It's been discussed in several meetings with NDOT that they have some funds available that could be used for media campaigns. So that's in discussion. So there are other avenues. We do a teen driver awareness class. During COVID, it took a hit. We couldn't have classes, so that was done. But now the police department, we're back trying to do one every quarter. We'll do a teen driver awareness class for young drivers. And then lots of community events that we go to where we have literature that can be handed out in multiple languages, questions that could be asked. And anything that we need to do for the citizens in order to answer their questions about the driving.
Thank you, Councilmember Cash. I've got Councilmember Gamble and Councilmember Young in the queue. If anybody else wants to, just raise your hand, let me know. Councilmember Gamble, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for being here today, and thank you for mentioning about the teen driving class. One of my questions was about if there are any education programs for young drivers because I've noticed more recently that young drivers, particularly young women, which surprises me, are more reckless, just driving fast and switching lanes. And so I wondered if you all were doing any kind of young driver education in the high schools. I know resources are limited, but wondering if there are any grant opportunities available, anything where resource officers who are already in the schools can provide some type of education or reminder for young people with driving.
We had pondered that and partnered with some of the school resource officers about presenting that teen driver class into the schools. That was about 2019, and then the COVID hit, and it all died. And like I said, we just got the teen driver back up and running. We ran one last quarter. We need to tweak it, modify it a little bit, bring it up to date. But the plan is to eventually, if those divisions are receptive to it, if the schools are receptive to it. A lot of times it's hard to get time in the schools because they've got very limited amount of time to do those presentations. But ideally, we would like to get into the schools. But statistically speaking, when you look at fatal crashes, it's not the young drivers.
Really?
It's
What's
those middle ages.
Okay.
It's 30 to 45, 50.
And is it impaired driving or is it reckless driving?
Roughly 40 to 50. It fluctuates year to year, but on average, it's about 35 to 55% impairment. Seatbelts run about the same. Distracted driving, it's hard to tell because a lot of times you don't know. We pull cell phone data from phones if it's a prosecutable crash in order to rule that out, but it doesn't always tell us whether or not they were actively texting or on that phone when the accident occurred. And after a crash, they could be using the phone legally. It could be on the windshield or something, and then after the crash, it's just laid in the floorboard. And if the occupant is deceased, there's no way to know. That data is a little bit more skewed. But impairment, we know pretty much because the medical examiners, they do toxicology testing and provide that to us. So we know about the impairment. And it's pretty consistent between 35 and 55%. Too much. But the surprising thing in Tennessee, we have over a 95% seatbelt usage rate.
Right.
But our fatal crashes, upwards of 40 to 45% are unbelted. So it's like when you look at all the fatal crashes and you look at all the data together, a lot of times the fatal crashes are involving those people that are engaged in risky behaviors on many facets, not wearing seatbelts, reckless driving, drinking, drugs, other things. It's a wide variety of things.
Thank you. One final question. Are there any plans to purchase more speed trailers? Because on our major corridors and state routes, those streets aren't included in the NDOT traffic calming program. So really, speed trailers are one of the few options we have on those major corridor and state routes. And I have a constituent who went online, went through the process to get the speed trailer, and we were only able to have it for a week because we don't have enough to go around with all the requests. So wondering if there are any plans to buy more, though.
Those, to my knowledge, the police department does not have any plans. They're not ours. Those are NDOT's, I believe, are they not? How many do y'all have?
We have We have, I think, a total of 16, and we do have plans to purchase some more. And then where we're finding that the speed tables are quite effective, you may actually find that we'll come back and install a more permanent speed sign. So especially on our more arterial, our collector streets, where we cannot put cushions down or that type of traffic calming down, we are actually moving toward using permanent speed signs that would tell the community, hey, you're speeding, you're going above the speed limit and that kind of stuff. So that is built into the Vision Zero plan. Thank you.
That's great. And will that be managed by MMPD like currently, or that'll go through NDOT?
NDOT currently manages all those trailers, and when your constituents go online and request that goes straight to NDOT.
Okay.
But we do coordinate quite closely with the police department when they put a request in for us because they're seeing an issue or a problem. So we are getting those notices, and we'll get a speed trailer out in that area when they send it because of what they're seeing at that moment.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Gamble. Councilmember Young?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Lieutenant Gillan. You've mentioned THP, and so at least in my part of the county, which is kind of the northeast part bordering the county lines, a lot of the problems we have are like on 41 going up to the Robertson County line, and they're all on state routes or Gallatin Road. And so, you know, ideally, we want MNPD to be working on our neighborhood, our city streets. But, I mean, how can we as council be helpful with maybe working with our partners at the state, whether it's some of our state legislators to is there anything we can be doing, I guess, to help THP in traffic enforcement on some of the state roads and state highways in the county? Because I know at least, you know, the example I use of 41 is you have the people coming out of Robertson County driving like a bat out of hell, excuse me, but coming on down the ridge.
Yeah.
And it's not fair to be asking y'all to constantly be babysitting the state road.
I don't want to tell you anything that's not accurate. So
Sure.
There's a lot of rumors flying around right now out there.
Okay.
THP is bumping up the number of officers in Davidson County, the number of troopers. How many, I don't know.
Okay.
For sure. I've heard different numbers in different meetings, so the final number, I don't know. What I do know from being out there every day and doing enforcement up and down the interstates and some state routes and some of our local routes is they're becoming more visual. I'm seeing more officers out there. We've got an operation, I think it's tomorrow, on Briley Parkway with THP. So we'll have some officers there. And then I think the 22nd, we have another operation with them on Nolensville Road. So I think the Briley Parkway operation will probably be distracted, and then I'm not sure Nolensville Road might be a distracted driving one too.
Sure.
But the plan right now is that, yes, they're going to bump THP officers up in Davidson County, and we'll be working a lot closer with them in the future to do these operations.
Sure. And I guess my point is just to make sure that we as council can be helpful in ways that we can as far as communicating with our fellow elected officials at the state to encourage and what they need to do, I guess, to get more funding or whatever they need at THP to be helping us with the traffic enforcement. Because I feel like that's probably a lot of our high injury networks, primarily state roads, probably.
Well, and THP is having the same issues that all law enforcement agencies are having right now across the country with staffing levels.
Sure.
They're in the process, rumor has, but again, it's just a rumor. They're supposedly getting a pay raise to help with the retention of officers and the recruitment of officers. And as they get those additional officers, some of those will be distributed here in Davidson County.
Okay.
But other than that, I don't know if there's anything specific that the council could do.
Yeah. No, that's fine. And I think
Unless you know Colonel Perry real well, and you could.
I do not. But I'm happy to go find him and get to know him. But then to Councilmember Cash's point about traffic stops and stuff, I love traffic stops because when people see blue lights, they realize they need to slow down. Just like I live in Goulitsville, and right next to us is City of Millersville, and they will pull you over for blinking an eye. But you know what? I do not speed. I always make sure I do not speed when I drive through the City of Millersville.
Sure you don't.
And they do not have, so they're going to have probably less speed involved accidents. So I say, Go write them tickets, baby. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Young. If I could ask the indulgence of the committee, we have a relatively short agenda, and I'd like to, if I could ask Lieutenant Gilliland to hang around for just a few minutes while we go through that. I know there are members who want to talk with you still, so if you don't mind, let us go through this agenda and get it finished before I lose quorum, so that other members can go to their other committees. So we'll start on that right now. Thank you so much, and you can stay there if you want to, Lieutenant Gilliland, if you'd like. We'll go through resolutions on consent. Right now, I have RS 2023-2045, 2055, 2056, 2057, and 2058 on consent. If anybody wants any of those pulled, let me know. Seeing none, I'll go through the captions, and at the conclusion of that, you'll still have another opportunity to pull them if you'd like. RS 2023-2045, wrote and other sponsors, approves the contract between Metropolitan Government and CDK Enterprises, DBA Southern Lighting and Traffic System, Inc., to provide service maintenance and licensing to the Syntrax ATMS software. RS 2023-2055, wrote and other sponsors, authorizes the Department of Water and Sewage Services to enter into a waste data pilot program with Routeware Global, and to accept a donation of $30,000 for hardware, software, and services associated with the program. RS 2023-2056, wrote and other sponsors, approves a grant application for the Recycling and Education Outreach Grant from the United States Environmental Protection Agency to the Metro Department of Water and Sewage Services to develop multilingual outreach tools focused on reducing contamination, increased participation, and improving community engagement. RS 2023-2057, Hancock and other sponsors, authorize the Metropolitan Government to add phasing, update the map and parcel information, and the acceptance of public sanitary sewer mains, sewer manholes, and easements for two properties located at 1133 and 1201 Neely's Bend Road. And RS 2023-2058, Evans and other sponsors, authorize the Metropolitan Government to add phasing to the acceptance of new water and sanitary sewer mains, fire hydrant assemblies, sanitary sewer manholes, and easements, and to update the map and parcel information for two properties located at 1300 Central Court and Central Pike Unnumbered. That is the consent agenda. Does anybody need to pull anything off? I heard a motion. Do I have a second? Moved, properly seconded. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Consent agenda passes. Now we'll go to bills on second reading. Consent agenda is BL 2023-1732, 1733, 1734, 1735, 1736, 1737, 1738, 1739. Any of those need to come off? All right, I'll begin reading those captions. BL 2023-1732, Sledge and other sponsors, authorizes Reservoir Zone 3 LLC to install, construct, and maintain underground encroachments in the right-of-way located at 1310 Hillside Avenue. RS 2023-1733, Roten and other sponsors, authorizes the acquisition of certain right-of-way easements and property rights for use in public projects for the Metropolitan Government for the purposes of NDOT infrastructure for 1809 Antioch Pike Easement Acquisition Project. BL 2023-1734, wrote and other sponsors, approves a contract between the Metropolitan Government and Principal Environment, Inc. to provide parts and products needed for Metro Water and Sewage Services equipment. BL 2023-1735, Swope and other sponsors, accepts new public water and sanitary sewer mains, fire hydrant assemblies, sanitary sewer manholes, and easements for property located at 5693 Cloverland Drive. BL 2023-1736, Pulley and other sponsors, accepts the replacement of existing public water main and newer public sanitary sewer manhole property located at 3808 Cleghorn Avenue. BL 2023-1737, Swope and other sponsors, accept new public sanitary sewer manhole for property located at 95 Plum Neely Circle. BL 2023-1738, Benedict and other sponsors, abandons existing sanitary sewer main, sanitary sewer manholes and easements, and to accept new public sanitary sewer main, sanitary sewer manholes and easements for three properties located at 2304, 2306, and 2310 Riverside Drive. BL 2023-1739, Roberts and other sponsors, approves the replacement of an existing public water main and the rehabilitation of an existing sanitary sewer manhole for property located at 5607B Morrow Road. That is what I have on the consent agenda. Does any of those need to come off? Seeing none, I'll accept a motion. Moved, properly seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That is the consent agenda. I'm looking for, I saw Councilmember O'Connell in here before. We got one of his bills on here. Okay, all right, and we do have council members on the committee who are on that bill. That's BL 2022-1449, creates Chapter 2.153 of the Metropolitan Code establishing a bicycle and pedestrian advisory commission, and I do have a proposed amendment, so if we could move the bill and moved properly seconded. Does anybody want to move the amendment? I don't see Councilmember O'Connell. Councilmember Swope, did you move it? Okay, moved and properly seconded. You want to explain the amendment to us, or does anybody need an explanation for that? Councilmember Allen, I think you have your mic right.
I was just going to say it's housekeeping. It just changes it from the name of an organization to a representative.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. Any discussion on the amendment? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the amendment is recommended for approval. Any discussion on the bill as amended? Yes, Councilmember Allen?
My understanding is that the sponsor wanted to defer it, and I also know that the Greenways Commission was interested in providing input and would appreciate that deferral. I don't know what length of time he was planning to defer it for, though.
What's that? What did he say? Okay. Ms. Alicorn, you want to comment on this?
Good afternoon. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Here's Councilmember O'Connell behind you, too.
Oh, we're on your bill, sir. I'm going to shut up. All right, Councilmember O'Connell, we have approved your amendment, and we're on the bill as amended. We recommended for approval of the amendment. Now we're on the bill as amended.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair, and apologies. This is one of those days where I assumed we were at 4 o'clock, and my apologies. This bill, I've worked with the department, with members of the Vision Zero task force, with supporters of the idea of revisiting the BPAC, and what I'd like to do is recommend, well, let me do this. I'd like to move to defer to the first meeting in May.
There's a motion on the floor, properly seconded, to move to the first meeting in May. Any discussion on the amendment? Or, excuse me, on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor of the deferral? Oh, back
Just
to you,
real quick
Councilmember
with
O'Connell.
a comment before we vote. The reason for the deferral is we're still gathering information, looking at the goals established by that task force. I'll say it this way. The reason I was interested in bringing this back is previously the BPAC was very goal-oriented and toolkit-oriented. They produced commuter maps. They established a goal of where we needed to be as a bicycle-friendly community. It was an opportunity for actual cyclists to provide input on designs and implementation. And those are not historically default attributes of the way Vision Zero work gets done. So I want to make sure that the things that the BPAC used to do are fully incorporated into the Vision Zero work. And still working with the task force and the department and looking forward to those conversations continuing, but I hope colleagues will support the deferral.
Thank you for that explanation, Councilmember O'Connell. Any discussion on the bill as amended? Seeing none, all in favor of a deferral to first meeting in May?
Aye.
Any opposed? Aye. All right, that is recommended. And I believe that concludes our agenda. Councilmember Evans, are you wanting to talk about the next item? No, I'm not about to forget you. I didn't even see, I saw you over there. I was about to have a conversation with you after the meeting's over. I had something to tell you, but feel free once I give you your microphone. I got to find you over here. Go right ahead, Councilmember Evans. So we're moving back to the discussion with the police department, or do you want to talk about something else?
No, I wanted to just ask publicly to expand the NES scope. And can I give you some context about what I'd like?
the NES scope
Yeah,
of
for
the
when
conversation?
when they come back, when they actually are
Sure.
able to come.
Absolutely.
So so it's come to my attention, about a year ago, it was February of 2022, we received a letter from NES that was specific about transformer issues in Davidson County and all the problems that they've had with procuring equipment. And so there's been some workarounds, and some builders have basically been able to work through acquiring their own transformers and working through that process with NES. Well, essentially, we're struggling. If you have a single family home project being constructed in your community, builders are really struggling with this transformer issue to the point that some smaller ones potentially could go out of business if we're not really diligent in communicating, if NES is not communicating very proactively with all these builders that are involved. And so I'd like to expand the conversation about NES to transformers, the workarounds for transformers. Some builders have been communicated with independently, some have not. And so there's a big delta when it comes to communication on this issue. And so I'd like to raise the red flag that this is a problem.
Thank you for that, and I will definitely communicate that as we attempt to quickly reschedule this. We had TVA and NES on board, and transformer issues are a sore subject in my district now. We had a transformer that caused my Kroger to be out for several days, so
Can I make one additional comment about that?
Yes.
And kind of the downstream impact that I've been experiencing and other CMs may have been experiencing as well is the number of people whose closings are delayed, in some cases months and months and months. They've put in their notice to leave their apartments or wherever they were living previously, and they're in a real precarious position. And so it's very concerning, of course, for those folks. It's concerning for the builders. It's concerning for people like me that had, in 2008, builders stop building and leave vacant land that created all kinds of other issues. So just putting that out there as well. And I appreciate the recognition. Thank you.
And thank you so much for those comments, and I'll make sure all of those are brought to the attention of NES so that they can discuss those matters with us when we reschedule them. Thank you again. Without further ado, we're going to move back to Lieutenant Gilliland and talk more about the traffic calming issues. Also, I want to make sure everybody's aware that Director Alicorn and Mr. Purvis are back there in the back room so they can add the NDOT context to this conversation. Next in the queue is Councilmember Swope.
Thank you, Chair. Lieutenant, thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time to come here and talk to us about this. One of the things that hasn't been brought up, or if it has, maybe I was reading something and missed it, but and I will raise my hand and say I have been guilty of this off and on my entire life, especially as a younger man. But OHB, Nolensville Road, Haywood Lane, the list goes on. We got a huge drag racing problem, and I'm sure you're well aware of. Some of these young adults have gotten organized via social media, and I know you're aware of it. You guys in Midtown especially have done an amazing job at keeping it to an absolute minimum. But at some nights, especially when the moon's full and the air's cold, which engines love and you can see without lights, we get upwards of 1,000 people cohabitating in and around Health Park on OHB and running up and down between essentially Nolensville and 65.
Yes.
I'm at a loss. Like I said, I'm guilty of this myself. Oh, yeah.
You're guilty of drag racing? Is that what you're trying to say,
Yeah, like I said, I'm not going to exclude myself from this. I grew up around cars, for God's sake. But a long time ago, I moved it from the street to a track. Some of these kids don't have that ability, and they still want to go out here and do this, but it's causing immense concern amongst my district and others. If you would, can you just address what is being done to kind of mitigate this problem?
We were running street racer initiatives on a regular basis. It's very costly. So at some point in time, we saw a decline in the amount of activity, we stopped the initiatives, and then the activity picks back up. And it just has repeated itself for a couple of years now, several years. The state legislature is currently working on some legislation that will hopefully assist us with regards to the seizing of vehicles and so forth. Whether or not that works out, I have no idea. I don't know. But we're hoping, and we're talking to some of the right people that we think that can be facilitated, because we think the drag racing, when we first started, I seized 19 cars in like several days or several weeks, I should say. And the drag racing aspect stopped. I mean, yeah, you're still going to have one or two, but it stopped relatively quickly. And then when it picked back up, they changed their tactic to the intersection takeovers. So we've had meetings with the district attorney's office about that, and we have been planning and mapping out the best route to go, rather than the police department just jump in there and do something, and then the district attorney not be on board with that or not comfortable with prosecuting those cases. We've been meeting with them, but we are currently working on some things to address these issues in another fashion that hopefully might have a longer lasting effect.
And along with these initiatives that you're discussing right now, yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, I just want to say this publicly so that you can say yes or no, but you guys have gone to great lengths to work with property owners, specifically in my district, HCHI Star, and worked with them to increase security patrols over the weekend, even putting up security gates when they're not necessary during the work week, but they are on a Friday and a Saturday night. Is that correct?
Correct. We've had them run through gates before.
Yeah.
So you can put a gate up and they just run right through it. It gets to be very expensive for the property owner as well.
How can we help on the seizure laws that the state's considering right now?
If you know anybody in the state legislature that can help clarify the current seizure statutes, currently the only thing you can seize for is the drag racing.
Yeah.
The taking over an intersection, they did pass legislation taking reckless driving up to aggravated reckless driving and bumps it up a little bit, but it's still a misdemeanor.
Listen, I remember the days.
Yeah.
If we got caught drag racing, now granted, this was in a different state, in a different lifetime, but if we got caught drag racing, you lost your car.
A lot of the
Pink slip, baby.
A lot of the problem you have is you roll up there, you turn on the blue lights, and they take off.
Yeah.
At what point is a pursuit of this vehicle safe for the motoring public? Now, there may not be anybody else on the road, and the answer to that question is yes. The pursuit is perfectly. It's never safe, but it justifies the end. Okay.
Yeah.
But for the most part, they're not running that late at night. They're running at 10, 11 o'clock when the vehicle traffic out there is pretty thick still. So it's kind of a balancing act for the police department, making sure that we're taking the public's interests and safety in mind with the ones in the vehicle. And then the vehicles themselves, a lot of times, they'll take the tags off. You'll see one and right off the bat, turn your blue lights on and they're gone. They're running out there with no tags on. They're coming up from Memphis. They're coming up from Atlanta. The Nashville ones are going to Memphis and Atlanta. So it's a huge issue, and it presents a lot of challenges. What we have done in the past seems to work pretty effectively, and that's consistently. We'll go out there and let's say there's 400 or 500. Maybe we'll utilize aviation. They'll spot one that's doing donuts in a parking lot. They'll call it out to us on the radio. We'll go in there, light it up. They all leave, and we'll cull that one out of the herd, and we'll go after him. We've got him with solid charges. If we can get him stopped, if he runs, let that helicopter and that camera system on that helicopter follow him. He's going to stop. We back off. We don't chase him. And then we come in and get them at the end. And hopefully we can get some good video footage, or the helicopter can testify, yes, the driver, that guy right there getting out of the car is the one who was driving it for us. We've had a lot of success with that. And the evading from the police like that in a vehicle is a felony. So that now becomes a felony charge. And we have prosecuted a lot of them under those circumstances. We've been able to not put members of the public at risk with pursuits, let the aviation unit follow at a distance, and we have a new helicopter with a new camera system that's very effective, and THP's been very willing to assist in any of those operations with us with regards to their aviation unit as well. We currently have several in the, they're still open and active cases. I'll be glad to discuss those with you
Offline.
after the meeting if you'd like, some specifics. But we're hoping that the prosecution of those really makes an impact.
Yeah. Hey, well, again, Lieutenant, thank you for everything you guys do. You're doing an amazing job out there in an almost uncontrollable situation at times.
It is.
Anything you can do to continue this is greatly appreciated.
We've discussed some options with NDOT that some other jurisdictions and states across the country have utilized. And just an example of that, you know the rumble strips along the side of the interstate, when you drift off, you get that boom, 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 boom. Well, in some jurisdictions, they've gone through, and a good example would be Murfreesboro and Bell Road. That seems to be a popular one. Go cut a rumble strip right through the middle of that in a big X. So when they go to do that donut, they're hitting that rumble strip.
Yeah, that's a great way to tear up a good set of Nito tires.
Well, that's the thing. They're not putting a good set of Nito tires on there. And that's what makes this even more risky. And keep that in mind.
Yeah.
They're going and buying a used set of tires to put on there at, $25 a tire. And they're out there driving that way on these tires. And we just had one of our fatal crashes in the last, 48 hours was a drag racing. And he hit somebody head on and killed him. He was charged with vehicular homicide. So the DAs are doing they're helping out a lot. They've been very cooperative with us. We have a DA that's dedicated to vehicular crimes, and so they'll prosecute those to the best of their abilities. And they've been a big help with regards to working with us to determine what charges are best for a lot of these folks. And I think what you'll see in the future is a lot of these folks will be charged with rioting. It fits the statute.
Yeah, they need to be. Again, thank you. I'll make a few phone calls to the Hill. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Lieutenant Gilliland? Seeing none, Lieutenant Gilliland, thank you very much for coming today and speaking to us about this very important issue.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other comments or announcements before we adjourn? All right, thank you all for attending. We are adjourned.